Hi, good afternoon, parents. Welcome to this afternoon's session. This afternoon's town hall meeting, we are focusing on the topic on subject-based spending. So this is most relevant to students who are at P4 level going on to P5 next year. But of course, as parents, if you are interested to find out more about how the school do our subject-based spending, even if your child is at a younger level, you're welcome to join us in this briefing. For those of us who already have older children who have gone through the P4 subject-based spending, just to let you know that this year, the process remains the same. So there is no additional changes to our system that we have already informed you in the previous year's exercise. So if you feel that you already know what is happening, then you do not need to attend this briefing. Once again, this briefing, we would also be video recording this session. So once the video is ready, we will also be uploading this session onto our Admiralty Primary's YouTube channel. So for parents, or if you know of parents who have missed this session, once the video is ready, we will be sending out a PG message to everyone to inform you about it, and you can let them know that they can also catch up on the information that they've missed through that video itself. All right, so without further ado, let's get on with the discussion about what subject-based spending is all about. So in today's session, we are going to cover the following areas. So we are going to talk about what are the rationale that is behind subject-based spending, and perhaps especially for some of us who are still very used to the older system of EM1, EM2, EM3, we will be briefly going through how we have evolved into today's practice of subject-based spending. We'll talk about what it's all about. We'll talk about our school's particular policy on subject-based spending. This might be something that different school might practice in a slightly different way. So we'll share with everyone our school's take and the way we go about doing our subject-based spending. So what are the choices available? We will be sharing with everyone as well. And that how does this whole banding work? And also we will be very briefly going through the PSLE scoring that will be taking effect at the end of this year. We'll roughly go through that because from last year's briefing, we noticed that there are quite a few parents who are quite concerned about the changes that are coming up. So we will roughly go through these changes in the PSLE scoring, but we will not go through it in details. The information is on this slide. We will also be sharing the slides with you, and for those of us who are interested in the details can go through that. And even for those of us who need more information on this, just want to share with everyone that at the beginning of next year, we would also be conducting an additional session, most likely through Zoom as well, to talk about our experience, our own school's experience with regards to the new AL scoring system from this year's result. So at the end of this year, our P6 students will be going through the first cycle of the new PSLE scoring. And at the end of the year, we would already have our school-based data on what does this, how does this AL score look like for our own Admiralty primary students. And then at the start of next year, we will actually be sharing, having a session to share with all parents with regards to the new findings with regards to this new scoring system. So that's just to give everyone a preview of what is coming up in terms of this new PSLE scoring system. All right. Coming back to the subject-based spending, then we talk about how subject-based spending, the whole rationale of it is actually very educational, whereby we know that all children, they are unique in their own ways. They have different aptitudes, they have different capabilities and talents, and these aptitudes, capabilities, and talents will differ from subject to subject. So subject-based banding is really a refinement from the old streaming process of EM1, EM2, EM3, whereby in the old system, they will have to take all subjects at the same level of difficulty. And therefore, for those that are streamed to EM3, then all their subjects will be taken at the foundation level. There is not much differentiation for students who are allocated in EM3, other than for mother tongue. I think at the later years of implementation of the old system, we actually allow students to take their mother tongue at the standard level. But other than that, the rest of the subjects are very much standardized to be taken at foundation level. So really very much with this rationale in mind about different students having different aptitude across different subjects, and in order to help them to realize their potentials based on a fine-tuning on their strengths and needs, then we move on to subject-based banding, whereby we no longer have the EM1, EM2, EM3 system, but it's about the ability of the students, and we split each subject into standard level and foundation level. So most of our students will be taking the subject at the standard level. Just like in the past, most of our students are in our EM1 and EM2 system. So similarly, most of our students should be taking subjects at the standard level across all the subjects. And foundation subject will be for those that are very, very weak in the subject itself, and that if they are deemed to be not able to assess the materials to be done at the standard level, then we will encourage these students to take up the subject at the foundation level. And these are all done at the subject level. So you can have different combinations of English, mother tongue, math, science, and different subjects can be taken at either a standard level or a foundation level. Okay, and this will allow us to really give that fine-tuning to really cater the subject level targeted to the child's own strength. So this will allow us to stretch the students in terms of their potential in subjects that they are strong in. But for those subjects that they are weak in, we will also be able to make sure that we at least make sure that the students understand the foundation of the subject itself. Okay. Now, so for our school policy, this is how we work, that if at the P4 exams, the child is able to score 20 marks or above, then this child should be taking the subject at the standard level. All right. But if the child is falling below 20 marks, then there is an option for us to see if the child should be taking the subject at the standard or foundation level. We just also want to share that in most cases, we try our best to push our students to do subject at the standard level. And therefore, you will see that the school is very generous in terms of pushing our students to do the subject at the standard level. And most likely what you will see that is that at the P5 level, majority of our students will be doing the subjects at the standard level. But of course, there will be some students whereby right at P4, already they are showing weakness in certain subjects that we are quite sure that they won't be able to take the subject at the standard level. Then for these students, we will actually right at the start of P5 recommend them to take the subject at the foundation level. So the cutoff point in terms of that decision is really at 20 marks. So for most of our parents, and if you know that your children are doing better than this, then there is really nothing for you to worry about. Okay, and why do we do that? It's because standard subject would offer a better achievement score in your final PSLE exam compared to foundation subjects. Okay, so foundational subjects might be easy to score, but when you convert that to the PSLE AL score, later on we will look at that in more detail. The score conversion is such that the foundation subject actually doesn't give you a more a more favorable score in terms of your subject score. So very much for our school, if the child is shown to have that possibility to be able to do okay beyond just a borderline pass for standard subject, we will actually push them to do the subject at the standard level. Okay, so better achievement score will translate to widest range of school choices, and also it aligns better with the rigor of the subject of being offered as standard as secondary school. So very much we will want to keep our children at the standard level as much as we can, and only those that are not able to assess the subject very well and are in danger of getting a U grade, then we will consider moving them to foundation subjects. Okay, so at the end of P5, just want to make sure that all of us are clear about it, is that while we would encourage more students to do standard subject, even if they are like very borderline, we will still want them to give it a try at P5 level, usually at the start, if they are not so clear cut that they should be taking the subject at the foundation level. Then we will observe their performance and how they are coping. By the end of P5, we will usually make a decision as to whether some of these children, if they have shown that they are really struggling with the standard subject, by the end of P5, we would also, if not earlier, we will actually recommend for them to be dropping the subject to the foundation level. Most of these cases, the children will still be staying in the same class as much as possible, so that they will still be stretched and at least have some knowledge about the range of the subjects beyond just the foundation coverage. But at least they are very clear that they will take the subject at the foundation level at PSLE, and that will remove at least some of the anxiety and stress in terms of their learning. Okay, so for these students who are struggling and not able to even achieve 20 marks, offering the subjects at the foundation level will actually zoom their focus onto just the fundamental concepts that are essential for these subjects, and that will help building stronger fundamentals for them to articulate to the secondary school, most likely not to be like in the express stream, but at least they will have that good foundation to be still able to assess the subject at the normal academic or normal tech foundation. Or for those of us who are familiar with the G1, G2, G3, then you'll be in at those subject at the more foundation or fundamental level at the secondary school. Okay, the easier versions of the subjects. So now, just want to emphasize again, there were, across the years that we have implemented subject-based banding, we do have parents who come and tell us that they actually, to the school, actually the child should be taking the standard subject because the child show a potential of scoring beyond just the AL6, in the new PSLE scoring, that the child actually have a chance to score better than an AL6. But the parents kind of look at it from the absolute score sense and say that, oh, foundation subject, it's easier for my child to get a higher marks. Therefore, they want their child to be doing the foundation subjects. So we just want to say that the foundation subjects being easy, yes, for a child taking the foundation subjects, they will definitely score better. But the foundation subjects, when we convert that into the PSLE total AL scores, there is actually a conversion factor that will actually scale the marks down to a lower level. Okay, so taking foundation subject, if parents feel that, oh, it's going to be easier and I don't want my child to be so stressed out, and therefore I will want to opt for foundation level, our school will actually want to caution against it. Okay, because foundation subjects, the best AL score that they will be able to attain is actually 6 points. Okay, no better than that. Whereas for standard subject, they can have a better score of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But once they take foundation subject, even if they score 100 marks, in the foundation paper, they will only be able to score 6 points in the AL score. Okay, so if there's a chance that a child can score AL score 5 or better in the standard subject, we will actually highly recommend that the child take the subject at the standard level. Okay, so when it comes to higher mother tongue, our school's policy will be this, that if the child is able to do 70 marks or better in their mother tongue at primary 4, then we will encourage them to take higher mother tongue. Okay, so higher mother tongue, we know that traditionally, this will be a key subject for our children's admission to SAP schools. But in recent years, we have also started the language elective program, NLEP, in Bukit Panjang Government High, that is near our school, near enough to our school, that is one of the popular choice of our children in the Woodlands area, because I think traffic going towards Bukit Panjang Government High is still relatively convenient. So that school is offering MLEP. Anderson SAC at the Ang Mo Kio area is also offering MLEP. So Ang Mo Kio is also quite convenient in terms of traveling from Woodlands area. So again, these are the two schools that will be of particular interest for our students who might be interested in MLEP. For Tamil language elective program, the school that is nearest to us will be our Riverside Secondary. So for children who are interested to take up Tamil as part of that language elective program, Riverside Secondary will be part of the consideration. There are, of course, other schools around the countries that are offering MLEP and TLEP, but because they are not as near to the Woodlands area, and they are usually not the kind of choice that our schools, our students from our school will choose to articulate to. So that's why we are not including them in the list. Okay, but if you are interested in some of the other options, maybe particularly if some of us are thinking about moving house to a different part of Singapore by the time our children reach secondary schools, then you might want to source it out from the MOE website as to what are the other schools that are offering MLEP and TLEP. So taking higher mother tongue would actually put our children at good state in terms of not just going to SAP schools, but also in terms of articulating towards MLEP and TLEP schools. So the whole subject-based banding process would look like this. At primary 4, the child will be sitting for the school-based examination at the end of the year. Then based on the policy statement that I've mentioned earlier about the 20 marks cutoff for standard subject, and then the 70 marks cutoff for our higher mother tongue, we will actually propose the subject combinations and send that to the parents. So the parents will just complete the option form, and usually we recommend that actually we are very lenient. So unless you have any strong reason as to why you will want to opt for the foundation, the combination with more foundation subject, otherwise we will actually recommend that parents will just stick to our school's recommendation. So you will then sign on that option form and then and send it back to us. So that will settle the P4 process. And as I said, most of our children, we try our best to make sure that they will take the standard subject. And even for those that fall short of the 20 marks, actually through the years, we do give our children chances. So even if they are not scoring at 20 marks, they are scoring at 16, 18, 17, or even sometimes 14 as well. But if the teachers feel that the children's studying attitude is good, we might actually say that, oh, we will then keep the child at the standard level, give the child another chance at P5 to try to see if he or she can do the subject at the standard level. So we are really very lenient about that. So there's no concern about the child will be cut off prematurely from having access to a more demanding subject combination. So that's something that we want to assure parents. Once our children reach P5, then the children will start on with their studying of these subjects at the different level, and the school will continuously assess our children's ability. So in terms of, say, for example, even higher mother tongue, or those students who are at the borderline, if we find that the child is really having a lot of difficulty trying to cope with either the higher mother tongue or the subjects at the standard level, then along the year itself, we will actually recommend for the children to drop, or parents can also come to the school and talk to the child's form teacher or the subject teachers and say that, hey, I'm really seeing my child struggling in these subjects. Perhaps we will want to consider moving the child down to foundation level. So those conversations will happen and can happen while the child is at P5. But usually at the end of P5, we will make a decision as to whether the child should be taking standard or foundation level. We will still be very lenient about it, okay, as we have mentioned earlier. But if the child is really, really not able to handle the subject, we will actually strongly recommend that they drop to the foundation level. And usually our cutoff is very, very lenient, whereby only if the child is not able to score, okay, in the past, okay, because this year the new AL score is still yet to materialize. So our current gauge is always about whether the child will get a U grade under the old PSLE scoring system. So U grade is lower than E. So if the current or the old PSLE system is A star, A, B, C, D, E, then U. Okay, so if it's U, it means it's ungraded. So only if the child is going to be in danger of being ungraded, or I think in AL score, I think the cutoff score probably will be if the child is in danger of getting an AL8 in the standard subject, then I think we will very much want to recommend that the child take on the subject at the foundation level, because the child might be able to score better and then able to get a 7 or 6. Okay, if we are very sure that the child, if the child continue to take standard subject, the child will end up with an 8, then we will probably want to recommend that the child take foundation subject so that the child will have a good chance of scoring a 7 or a 6. Okay, so so the child will then settle with that combination and then sign up for their PSLE at primary 6. Okay, so that will be the flow in terms of the subject-based banding at primary 4. Okay, so next, I just want to give a very, very quick update. As I said, in the past, there are parents who actually raised quite a lot of questions about the PSLE scoring. So right now, we will just mention some of the key gist of what that changes is all about and how that might be of relevance to us looking at PSLE scoring from the P4 level. But as I said, more details will be shared with the parents at the start of next year. So changes in the PSLE scoring, we always emphasize that it's part of that bigger picture, bigger story about wanting to reduce that unhealthy competition of chasing after the last mark and that very fine differentiation of that actually entails in the PSLE scoring, you know, to be applied to a child at this young age. So we want to blunt the instrument, and that's why the AL score come in. We want to blunt the instrument such that most of them, if they are roughly around the same ability, they should have roughly that same AL scores, okay? And then this is to recognize the child's level of achievement, and it's not about how their peer have done. So therefore, in terms of the scoring conversion, we are converting from the A star, A, B, C, D, E that we were talking about into AL1 to AL8. Okay, and the raw mark range is as such. So some of us might notice that the gradation or the range is more maybe narrower when it comes to AL1, 2, and 3. But you come to AL6, then you see that the range is actually quite wide. That is from 45 to 64. So MOE has already explained to that, because this question has been raised by some other parents in some of the earlier discussion that MOE has conducted with other parents. MOE's explanation will be this, that because in the lower AL scores, there are fewer children who are at the range of 45 to 64. So it doesn't make sense for us to have a very narrow range of differentiation, but yet you actually don't have a lot of students in that range. So the decision in terms of the mark range for each AL score is actually determined by the number of students that fall into this category. So the fact that we are having only a very narrow score of 5 from 85 to 89 in AL2, it actually shows that there are actually many students that are falling around this range of the 80 plus. So we need to have a narrower range so that we are able to differentiate the better students from the others. But when it comes to, say, AL6, okay, the number of students there are a lot fewer as compared to the AL2s and AL3s. So there is no need for us to have such a wide range. So that is really very much the reason as to why the AL6 has such a wide range as compared to AL2. So the total PSLE score would actually be determined by adding up the AL score for each of the subjects together. And MOE earlier have already mentioned about how roughly the express stream will be for students whose PSLE score, the total AL score is between 4 to 20. Express NA will be 21, 22, NA 23 to 24, and NA-NT will be for those that are scoring 25. And NT, definitely for those who are even more than 25, from 26 onwards, okay? So that's that. And then recently, MOE also have released the indicative achievement level, because after doing some simulation with the previous batches of students, they actually came up with more information about what are the final differentiation that we can see based on the AL score. So many parents were concerned whether some of the top-notch schools, the AL cutoff is going to be 4 points. Okay, that's something that they were very concerned. But the simulation shows that actually for even the most competitive schools, which are usually the IP schools, the AL cutoff for these schools still fall into the range of about 7 to 9, and not in the 4 that many parents are concerned. So meaning that it is actually not that competitive. So even with the AL scores, it doesn't mean that our children need to score a perfect score of 4 before the child is able to articulate to IP school. Okay, so the simulation shows that the range of students admitted to the express IP programs actually range from 7 to 9. And for the usual express O-level, generally the range fall between 8 to 22. Okay, which is as what we have discussed in terms of our cutoff. And for NA is about 22 to 25, and NT from 26 to 30. All right, so that's the indicative score from the simulation. And MOE is quite confident that end of this year, our P6 students the scoring pattern will most likely fall within this range. Okay, so that will be something that MOE has assured all of us. And for us, we are going to study that pattern for our own students, and then to perhaps share more insights with everyone at the start of next year. Okay, so even for autonomous school and independent schools, these are the range. Again, we are not seeing that kind of very competitive cutoff at 4 points. So autonomous schools, the express range is about 7 to 9 if we are talking about the IP, the integrated program. But if not, then the range is from about 8 to 16. So even for independent school, same thing. For express, we are talking about 6 to 8. And for, let me see, because I cannot see that on my screen here. Yeah, and for O-level, then it's generally about 8 to 10 points for independent schools. All right, so so scoring for foundation level subjects, as we have mentioned, it will be the foundation level score that will be reflected on the, because the standard subjects will have AL1 to AL8. So for those students who are taking subjects at the foundation level, then the scores for the foundation subject AL will be actually ALA, ALB, and ALC that are corresponding to the foundation raw marks range as indicated. And as we have said, for foundation subject, when you convert that to the AL score to be added together to form your total PSLE score, you will realize that even if the child score a foundation level of A, the best AL score that this can be converted to is only a 6 point. And the rest of the conversion is as such as indicated in this table here. All right. Okay, so this is just another example as to if the child has a combination of AL standard subjects and foundation subjects, then how would the scores be added together? So we see that in this case here, the child is taking foundation mother tongue and foundation math. So the ALB will be converted to 7 points each, and then you plus the 3 points and the 5 points, and that will arrive at the PSLE score of 22. All right. And then with the 22 score, you see that the child is actually still eligible for the express NA option, which means that the child can, if the child chooses to, the child can still choose to articulate into the express score, express course, even with 2 foundation subjects. All right. So mother tongue exemption, we just again want to highlight that the exemption of mother tongue under the new AL score system definitely will put our children at a disadvantage. So we very much would want to strongly recommend that our children do not exempt from any of their mother tongue, that they should try, even if they are very weak, at least attempt it at the foundation level. Because if not, then the way MOE scoring will work is that for those students who are exempted from taking mother tongue, they cannot be seen as having more advantage as compared to children whose performance is very similar to these other children who have exempted from mother tongue, but at least they make an effort to even take the mother tongue even at the foundation level if they are very, very weak. So if they take if they are willing to stick on to the mother tongue subject and try it out at the foundation level, these children would actually should actually be given more due consideration as compared to someone who are totally exempted. Okay, so that's the reality. Of course, we know that sometimes the children really have to be exempted from mother tongue because of the learning condition that the child is in. But that's just the reality of the mother tongue scoring, and we just want to be very upfront with everyone with regards to the consequences of mother tongue exemption. So very much is that for those children who are able to take the mother tongue even at the foundation level, they should aim to take the mother tongue at the foundation level rather than to try to go for exemption. All right. So with that, we have finished the briefing for today. So we are now open the floor up for Q&A from anyone. Okay, if you want to, you can unmute your mic and speak to and raise your question directly, or you can also key in your questions in the chats, and then we do have our colleagues here that can try to answer those questions, or if I'm able to, I would also just pick it up and answer the questions here. Thank you, thank you. Okay, I'll just go on talking. If you have no question, actually, there's no issue. If you later on do have any more questions, you're welcome to either write to us directly, or you can raise these questions with your children's form teachers or subject teachers to inquire for more details with regards to any final points about what subject-based spending is all about. Okay, so okay, if there is no further questions, I suppose we can end this session for today. So thank you very much, parents, for taking time to join us this afternoon. Thank you very much. Have a nice weekend. Thank you.